I got to tell you, as we segue to this week's game against Louisville, I have had a heck of a time. I've pulled up about 6 rosters, just wanting to skim through the Louisville roster to count up how many Floridians are on the roster. And every time I do, the page locks up. So I just assume there's a ton of them.
Yeah, no, there are. Louisville football.
I've gone to like 6 sites, and every time I can't even scroll through and do a count.
If I go Control Find and I go Florida, I have to go FLA because that's how it is. I got 16 on a quick search. I got 16 this year. So, I mean, 16 out of 85, that's more than a little bit. So, yeah, this is a team that has always recruited South Florida. They have pushed from solely living in the, I'll call it second tier of player. The ones who could maybe be a roster take at a Miami, Florida State, but then instead of just being a roster take, they go to be a top half of the roster take at Louisville. But where that really turned, obviously, was when we fired Randy Shannon and then Teddy Bridgewater decided to go up there. That was not a second-tier player. That was not anybody's also ran. That was what moved them from recruiting the second tier of South Florida kids to the first tier. And not necessarily being all of them, but you could be in that kind of conversation, right? You have the infamous Willie Williams transfer there for a little bit after JUCO. It was by way of other places, but he was the number 1 player in America when he was coming out of Carroll City Senior High School. You got guys, they got TJ Capers who reclassified, and he's up there as a freshman. That was a future 5-star in the 24 class who ended up as a 4-star in the 23 class when he, classified up and things like that. So, yeah, there's plenty of guys from Florida, specifically South Florida, who are on that roster. And as I scroll down this list, right, you got Stanquan Clark from Miami Central, Jarvis Brownlee from Carroll City, Ashton Galat from Boca Raton. Shout out Gilbert Frierson, transfer from the U, Coral Gables. Coral Gables Senior High School is where he went. Capers from Columbus. D'Angelo Hutchison, a DB, is from St. Petersburg Northeast. Miami Palmetto. Palm Beach Central. Renato Brown, wow, that's a name. He was a Miami recruit forever ago. Miami Central, Venice, Dade Christian, Tampa Gaither, and St. Thomas Aquinas. So plenty of guys from, the state of Florida. And that, more than anything, is why I thought that Louisville kind of petitioned to get Miami as one of their tentpole teams in the previous iteration of what the scheduling was going to look like, because they're like, hey, we can say that you're going to be on TV all 4 years. You're going to play at home either 2 or 3 times in your 5 years, depending on how it cycles with the recruiting and everything. But that could be a big draw to give them another foothold with recruits and everything. It, unfortunately for them, will only be 1 year because the scheduling paradigm obviously will change when we add Cal, Stanford, and SMU for next year, with Virginia Tech and Florida State being the annual tentpoles, and this concocted Louisville shenanigans going away. But this is a team that, if we play them once every 3 or 4 years, would be fine. Really interesting. I know that they're kind of catching lightning in a bottle. Another team that's had some very beneficial results and game operations to get to 9-1. All of them have not been blowouts whatsoever, but yeah, they're 9-1 coming in here and everything. So this is a team that obviously Miami wants to beat just because of the team across, but as a team that's having such a great season, if Miami were to find a way to win this on Senior Day, this would be the best win of the season. And I know that looking at it at the time, you're like, Well, Clemson. Well, Texas A&M. Like all that glitters is not gold. Those that we thought were going to be these real building blocks, they're average at best kind of squads. So like, as we sit here, Mario's still looking for a signature win. It boggles my mind that like potentially beating a 9-1 Louisville team would be the signature win. But like, find me a better win that we've had in Cristobal's tenure. I can't find it. So, hopefully we'll see. And, hopefully Tyler Van Dyke wakes up. Again, this is a team that he torched a couple of years ago. Remember we had those 75-yard touchdowns on back-to-back plays, Jalen Knighton all by himself on the wheel route. You remember all those? Like, that was Louisville, right? So I know it's a different coach. They brought Jeff Brom. He brought his brother Brian, his offensive coordinator, back. They got rid of Kenny Satterfield, or whatever his name is. Satterfield. I always want to call him Kenny. I have no idea. He looks like a Kenny to me. Anyway, but hopefully we can recapture some of that. And Tyler was like, yeah, I'm going to look at some games from earlier this year. I'm going to look at some games from last year. I hope he doesn't look at any games from last year, from 2 years ago, to try to get his mojo back. But maybe you look at that, Louisville game from 21 as like, hey, like I did numbers that day. What were his numbers that day? They were a lot. I'm going to find it, but we'll see. Actually, I found it. 21 game log. Nope. Tyler Van Dyke. Passing game log. Do we not play Louisville in 21? Was it 20?
The 2020.
Oh,
game,
that was De'Aaron King, who did all that in 20. Whoops.
And a couple backs leaked out of the backfield. Were those Donald Chaney plays or Jalen Knighton plays?
Jalen Knighton plays. Yeah, 18 for 30 for 325 and 3 touchdowns. Yeah, that was a De'Aaron King day, not a Tyler Van Dyke. Well, maybe he watches that one and gets inspired. Who knows?
I was trying to figure out where you were going because I definitely knew that game because Louisville was actually a slight favorite, and that was a Saturday night ABC game with Fowler and Herbstreit against Louisville.
Facts.
There.
Yep.
And I'm going to guess the score was like 37-14. Miami won that game by a lot.
It was 47-30.
47-34. Okay. Yeah, they got in front and it was a scoring fest, but it wasn't close at all.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm recalling a game at Hard Rock when Louisville had Jalen Harrell, and I believe Miami won. Is that going all the way back to like 18 or 19, possibly? That might have been with like Jaron Williams at quarterback.
Oh, yeah, 52-27.
Yeah.
19. Yeah. That was 2 weeks before Jaron got drunk and lost that game to FIU at Marlins Park on the site where the Orange Bowl once stood. Yeah, good old drunk Jaron. Yeah. Allegedly.
You have to be prepared for life and whatever it hands you.
Ye oldie noggin. But yeah, so hopefully the Miami Hurricanes are prepared for Saturday and whatever the Louisville Cardinals hand towards us. A solid running game with a leading running back, Jawar Jordan. No idea where he's from, but I know that he's put up gigantic numbers for them this year. A random game managing quarterback. But again, if you're not throwing the ball away, a random game managing quarterback, last name Plummer, who's not related to Jake Plummer. I saw that Justin DeTavio put that in his film preview. I believe that to be erroneous. But still out there, and leading this team to a 9-1 record, which again, kind of crazy. But like, they beat Indiana by a touchdown. Cool. They beat NC State by a field goal. We didn't do that. Shut out Duke after a bye, basically shut out Virginia Virginia Tech squeaked by Virginia. Like every week you just look up and down the schedule. It's just like, this started with 6 wins in a row, lost a game, 3 more, and boom, like 6 wins plus 3 equals 9, 10 weeks into the year, and here we sit. So it'll be interesting to see, but we're going to need to hopefully find something in the passing game because they're going to make us have to do that to win.
They are shooting to be the 2023 version of TCU because, it is not impressive to see week to week, but they just keep mounting the victories. The loss was to Pitt, a 2-8 Pitt team by 3 scores.
Mm-hmm.
I watched them play Virginia last week. They were in trouble. They were in trouble.
I remember that from last week. But I mean, like, hey, be in trouble or not, the thing that Miami was unable to do against Georgia Tech, survive and advance. Like, again, it don't got to look pretty, but by 1 or a million, as long as you have more points at the end of 60 minutes than the other team, look, you can work on the interstitial issues. But if the scoreboard is in our favor, when the clock strikes 0 at the end and everybody's leaving the field, you have to feel good about that. You know what I mean? And like 9 times out of 10, that's been the state of affairs. So, this, like last week, like every other week on the schedule, is a game that can be gotten by Miami. This is a game that Miami can go win. It's just incumbent upon us to be able to go out there and do that. And we'll see what happens. But it'll be really interesting. It is a nooner on ESPN, Senior Day. So get out there early to support those who have been with this program and will be, leaving, graduating or moving on elsewhere. I think it's going to be very light attendance. I was talking with Brandon earlier today. I said over under 30,000 in the seats, and I think it's going to be fewer than that. I don't think that it's going to be a heavily attended game. It's going to be one of those classic ones where people talk about, oh, yeah, y'all love this team, but y'all don't come out and blah, blah, blah. I would really love it if you came out and supported. I'm not saying, like, make it a Notre Dame 2017 full sellout and turning people away at the gate. Like, I'm going to be realistic, and it's raining from now until Saturday morning probably. I get it, guys. But, like, this is also the 6th and final home game of the year, right? So if you're talking about MS football, I love the Miami Hurricanes, and da-da-da. I want, like, hey, I've shouted out so many people, that I've met at tailgates this year. I think I've shouted out like 15 people just from walking around over at Hard Rock Stadium. I don't have any State of the U branded gear. I'm just me living my life, walking around. Hey, yo, Cam, I see you with Mark, and da-da-da. And I appreciate all those people, right? You want that opportunity? Come out to the game. You want to go to the tailgate? You want to see your Miami Hurricanes friends, whoever they are, and out there? It doesn't have to be me. You want to go see the Orange Bowl boys roaming and scooping them? Cool, go do that. You want to go see X and them? I mean, I usually do tailgate with X and them. Go do that. You want to go with La Familia and Q and them? Go do that. You want to go and do that. But after this week, the next time that we're going to have a home game is September. Because August 31st is on the road at Florida. So we're not having another home game until September. And we're clearly not playing in the Orange Bowl. So, like, that's not going to happen, this year. But, like, we're coming to the end of the road this year, guys. Like, literally in a couple of days. Like, we're cruising down the turnpike and we're at exit, like, 4. Like, we're going to get to exit 1, and then the turnpike, like, it turns and it ends and it runs into Dixie Highway down in Homestead. I say that because in my new secret day job, that's part of my coverage area, and I literally take that drive all the way to the end of the turnpike. There is no more turnpike. It does not exist anymore. Like, that's where we're going. So if you're talking about all this, all the offseason, man, Mark, Cam, I wish we had football. I wish. This weekend is a time to fulfill that desire before you guys get on here. Oh, my God, it's going to be so long until there's a home game and da-da-da-da-da. Govern yourselves accordingly. Do what you feel. Me, myself, personally, I'm going to be there. And I only missed one game because I had a work commitment at the secret day job that precluded me from going to the Virginia game. But otherwise, again, I'm going to be there. I hope that you guys are there and really come out and support this team. So come out and support these seniors. I know it's not been the kind of season or couple seasons, few seasons that we would have wanted, but they're still, putting their all into it and everything. And I hope that you guys really show up, and it'll be fun.